Exactly 70 years have passed since the outbreak of the Korean War, but the fratricidal wounds have yet to heal. A case in point is the divided families. This week, Korea Now will look into the divided families created by the Korean War and the division of the Korean Peninsula. Divided families refer to families whose members were unintentionally dispersed and unable to meet each other. The main reason for the separation is political conflict. The division of the Korean Peninsula is one of the examples where families were divided through political conflict. Between 25% and 35% were separated after the liberation right before the Korean War. The vast majority of the divided families, between 65% and 75%, were separated by the start of the Korean War on and around June 25, 1950. Since the end of the Korean War in 1953, there has been virtually no contact between the citizens of the two countries, including the many families who were divided during the turmoil that engulfed Korea after liberation from the Japanese rule and during the 3-year Korean War. Many people in both North and South Korea have lost contact with the rest of their families and are unable to communicate with them due to strict regulations across borders. In South Korea alone, there were many separated families living apart without knowing the fate of their other family members. This was because even after the war, they often separated due to hardships of life and lost contact. Until the 1970s and 1980s, media such as newspapers, TV, radio, and telephone were not as developed, and once they separated, there was no other way to meet each other. In the early 1980s, the number of divided families in the South, estimated by the police authorities, reached about 10.5 million. The population of South Korea was about 40 million at that time, so 1 in 4 people had separated family members. Therefore, South Korea held special programs to reunite the separated families in 1983. On the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the armistice, the government intended to use the influence of TV, a public media outlet, to find separated families living apart in the South alone. The program aimed to help people find their loved ones lost during the Korean War was to be a one-time special broadcast, but positive responses from the public prompted it to last for 138 days in a row, resulting in over 10,000 successful reunions.
저 어렸을 때 있잖아, 이발소집에 맡겨놓고 갔었어요.
예, 맞아요.
날씨가 흐리고요.
예, 맞아요.
오빠! 오빠! 이제 죽어도 뭘 하지 없어요.
전쟁이 얼마나 무서운 걸 너도 알아야 된다고.
네.
진짜
네 동생 이름이 현옥이야, 현옥이. 이름이 현옥이라고.
이름도 모르고.
김씨가 아니야, 허씨란 말이야.
The live television show titled Search for Separated Families, aired by South Korea's public broadcaster KBS, has been added to UNESCO's documentary heritage list, together with around 20,000 related materials. For the first time in 1985, South-North family reunions were held in Seoul and Pyongyang. And 15 years later, the agreement at the first ever Inter-Korean Summit in 2000 has led to several Inter-Korean family reunions since August 15, 2000. However, the 21st round of face-to-face reunions in 2018 was the last one. Since then, the impasse in nuclear talks between the North and the United States has hindered progress in the reunion of separated families, putting the aging family members at risk of dying before reuniting with their families in North Korea. Almost 1,400 South Koreans who had applied for reunions with their long-lost relatives in North Korea have died this year without having their wishes fulfilled, according to government data. A total of 1,379 South Koreans who registered as members of separated families since 1988 died from January to May this year. Among the 130,000 South Koreans registered as members of separated families, only about 50,000 were alive as of end of May, hoping to reunite with their loved ones believed to be living in the North since the Korean War. 86% of them were aged 70 or older, highlighting the urgency of one of the most pressing humanitarian matters for the two Koreas. What are your thoughts on this? Please let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching Korea Now.